Okay, guys, so everyone knows the Terminator, right? Like with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, he's probably one of the most popular media versions of someone who's a transhuman. Or if any of you guys have seen The Bourne Legacy, he's also a really good example of transhumanism. We'll get into all that later. Transhumanism was originally given a name by this man right here, Sir Julian Huxley, a prominent thinker in Britain and well-written eugenicist. Transhumanism is a broad term that can encompass most forms of artificial human advancement. Stuff like robotics, intelligence enhancement, physical enhancement, and genetic manipulation. Intelligence and physical enhancement can be anything from pills or injections for the purpose of augmenting one's physical or mental abilities. This is what happened in the Bourne movie I mentioned earlier. Genetic manipulation is the idea of tampering with an unborn baby's genes to affect his development in some desirable way. But here's where the problem comes in. In this world, there are haves and there are have-nots. Now, the haves are going to be able to pay to have their kids enhanced, whether it be physically, mentally, or genetically enhanced, to gain them all their advantages in life. But this is where the have-nots come in. The have-nots are not going to be able to afford to do this. And that's going to allow the haves to get further ahead. This big step further ahead is what's going to drive the whole thing. Because once they get that first step, then someone has to have the next best thing. And then all his friends got to catch him. And someone else has to have the next best thing. And everyone has to catch him to keep their kids competitive in this world. Because if not, the kids who are getting genetically enhanced mentally and physically are going to move further on ahead in life. So basically, this starts a big game of keeping up with the Joneses. And that's what really drives this whole thing forward. Now, all this is going on. All of the have-nots are still busy not having and getting left behind by the haves. And then, because of how far ahead the haves are moving, we eventually run into the issue of redefining humanity. And if we do that, then we have to face the dilemma of, do these advanced humans or post-human people get to determine the humanity of the people that they just left behind? Issues like, do we still include them in society? And if we do they have the same rights as the people who have advanced? Robotics, as a transhumanist topic, has a similar issue, because you have to determine if these people who have artificial parts, artificial limbs, hearts, brains, organs in general, are they too much robot, like to the point where they're not human anymore? And who gets to decide that? And once they do decide that, there's a similar situation to the people who have been genetically enhanced. Are they part of your society? Do they have the same right? Now, the Catechism of the Catholic Church does not necessarily directly address transhumanism, and that's reasonable because it's a fairly new topic to our world. But it does, through different ways, address the different facets of transhumanism. In Catechism 2294, it presents science that furthers human life as a whole is a good thing, which transhumanism does fit that bill. But once you get a little farther into it, you face the problem of the haves and the have-nots beginning to separate and become unequal. And that interferes with one of our core beliefs, and that is that all people are made in the image and likeness of God. Because then people begin to separate and look down upon other people and view themselves as greater, and then everyone ends up with unequal rights. And that is where I think the church would probably not be okay with transhumanism. And beyond the church, there really isn't an organized front against or for transhumanism. Beyond the church, it's really just person-to-person beliefs. And I think that is because transhumanism isn't really an issue yet. It's something that we have to look to the future and say this will become an issue. So anyway, I hope you guys thought it was as interesting as I did, and y'all have fun.